Hey everybody, welcome to Hear Us Out. I'm Patrick.
And I'm Paul. How's it going?
Pretty good, my friend. We're like 60 seconds late because we were having too good a conversation and I forgot to hit the go live button. That one's on me, everybody. I think you'll find we're here to talk about something I am very excited about. Very,
Ooh.
very excited about. For two reasons, Paul. There's very
Ooh.
rarely that we get to talk about something that we're passionate about. You know, we're passionate about movie making and the movie industry and entertainment in general. But
Yeah.
also, it intersects with something you wanted to be as a child. And a stunt person. Stunt man for me when I was a kid, it was up there with astronaut, race car driver, and a few other things. I was like, stunt men are cool. Stunt people are amazing.
Oh
So
yeah.
I'm really glad that we're going to give them a little bit of kind of time on the channel, a little bit of time to shine, particularly because people look way past it. I don't think people appreciate the art or the artistry in the stunt world.
Yeah. No. I gotta definitely agree. Yeah, it's great to put time towards the kind of unnamed, unthought of stunt people while watching a movie kind of thing. So it's good. And yeah, I don't know if I may have just wanted to be a fireman, but I definitely thought like yeah, stuntmen, stunts people and stuff like that. They definitely don't get as much of a shout out as they should, and they do really do cool stuff to kind of bring movies back like to life.
Yeah, and it's the multiples too, because you could be a fireman, a stuntman fireman. That was the other thing when you were a kid. It's like I want to be an astronaut, dinosaur wrangler. You never just thought that you only had one thing to choose. It's like I'm going to be a cowboy, spaceman. Great, there you go. That should work. Which eventually Nathan Fillion got to do in Firefly, spaceman cowboy.
Yeah, true.
I will say, on a more serious note, the reason that stunts need to be recognised and stunt professionals and stunt work and stunt coordinators and all of the effort that goes into it is because people don't realise that everybody assumes stunts are just for action films. They really aren't. Stunts are integral to what gives you the ability to build tension, fear, and danger, and a sense of actual danger. Because you're watching a movie on a big flat screen, be it at home or in the cinema, even with 3D, you have to be able to tell your story well enough to engage people. And one of those things is heightening danger. And there is nothing quite like someone falling off a building and seeing it and feeling it and going, I'm glad that's not me on your insides, to really have people go, ooh, there are stakes now. So everything, down to, quite literally, down to Downton Abbey or Gosford Park or any one of those, stunt people are involved in just about every movie. You may not realize it, but they're there.
Yeah, yeah. Like it can be simple as taking a punch to the extravagance of falling off a building, kind of thing. And yeah, you like it brings a sense of realism into the movie when you see physically a person as well, not some CGI or like
Yeah.
something being CGI or something like that. Kind of elements to the film. If you see a physical person, real life going in, like the Alan Rickman falling off the building in Die Hard, you can see like you can see his reaction. You can see him properly falling and stuff like that. Like it's not, you can't CGI that or anything. But then you see like RoboCop where the guy falls out the building and has freakishly long arms and stuff like that. You're just like, that's not a person,
Yeah.
you know.
The old dummy falls were my favorite when I was a kid. It's like they used a dummy for that. Which then spoof movies have, which we've covered recently, watch our previous videos, have then used things like that to great effect to send up where stunts and stunt work done badly can be obvious. Like the Naked Gun, famously, you have Frank Drebin doing backflips and it's obviously a stuntman and not Leslie Nielsen. And then he'll dive
Yeah,
behind a couch or a chair or something, and up comes Leslie Nielsen. And it's obviously, I believe they call it like a Texas switch or a Dallas switch. I think it's Texas switch, where a stunt person will do something behind an obscured object, and then the star will be the one to rise. But the Leslie
yeah,
Nielsen
yeah,
ones were always done badly enough and well enough at the same time to be the joke.
yeah,
I
yeah.
always loved that.
Yeah, you can recognize the fact that the transition isn't as clear cut or anything like that. It's more the fact is that it's like, oh,
Yeah,
and you
Leslie.
can just see a little bit of like a person like obscured out of view kind of thing.
Which again,
Just
it takes a more skill to do something well and then make it funny. So fair play to the stunt people involved and Leslie Nielsen.
very
Paul,
much so. I'm just gonna close my door. Hang
oh,
on one
please
sec.
go for it. Well, while Paul is closing a door, which I reached over and pushed a second ago, I'm in a smaller room. I can reach my door. Um, I think there's going to be people giving out if we don't say it, and I haven't looked in the comments yet. Welcome everybody who's come along. Hello, and welcome to all those of you watching us in future times. Hello, future times. Like,
God,
share,
people.
subscribe, hit notification bells, all that good stuff. Tickle analytics, and we're done. Now, Paul, is
I
there,
was
is there
just
one
gonna.
I missed?
I was no, there's not. There's something that we should be congratulated. I believe that today is our 25,000 view. We got 25,000 views today
Oh,
in our channel, which is a
very
nice little
nice.
benchmark kind of thing.
Oh, that's a
So
lovely number. I didn't know.
yeah,
Oh. See,
yeah. I
he
just got a
saved that
message.
for live on air, so I could be caught. You just want me to cry in front of people. No, that's
25.
awesome. That's genuinely awesome.
Yeah, 25,000 views. So that's pretty cool.
Well, here's to 25,000 more. And if you all like and share, then we'll get there. Because then the algorithm will help us and you'll help us. And we would love to have an even bigger community of cool people because we already have a very tight knit but brilliant viewership. So thank you all. You know who you are. Now, what I was about to do was give out about all you, but really it's commenters in general. Because commenters in general on the internet go, oh, but O's left out. You have to talk about certain things. When you talk about something, any topic, it's like, oh, well, you have to mention, if you're talking about shark movies, you have to mention Jaws. Well, in the case of stunts, you have to mention the originators in the silent movie era. The Buster Keaton's, Harold Lloyd. I have a little gif on screen of the rather amazing house fall that Buster Keaton did, where he stood there and the facade falls and misses him.
Yeah.
It's only impressive when you realize they really did it. And
Yeah.
the mathematics involved are quite simple, but the bravery to trust the math and not be out by a millimeter and literally have your head taken off is quite incredible.
Yeah, like the only time that he moves is when it actually impacts the ground. Like he doesn't move when it's going over him.
Yep.
It's when it impacts the ground is when you can see his arm twitch and stuff like that. And you're just like, it's unbelievable that was done live. And like, so
we could do a whole movie or a whole episode about those guys. I'll actually, I'm throwing on too many. I've thrown in one of my favorites. There's a train scene where he's on the front of a cow catcher and has to, there's a few parts in that scene where he pulls up a railway sleeper to, move it out of the way, but then he has to use that to throw and hit another one. And look, we're talking slow enough movement. The guy it was life and limb the whole way, which is not what I'm necessarily endorsing here. I prefer safe stunts. I want stunt people to survive. But you gotta admit, the originators, they really did take risks.
yeah, There's several more of the silent era like stunts that just like the houseful one's probably one of the more dangerous ones. The skill to be able to get that, like, pretty much, I think it happened on the first shot that he perfectly nailed hitting the sleeper out of the way and stuff like that. But there's other ones where it's like the carriage drag and stuff, or like the capture and stuff like that are amazing. That we'll talk about in kind of more further on.
Yeah, and I've just pulled up, and please remember, folks, that Paul is on a 30-second delay, so he's seeing the same things the same time as you, but I'll actually have said them and pulled them up on screen 30 seconds before. So Paul, you're doing amazing to keep up and catch things out of the corner of your eye. The Harold Lloyd hanging off the clock, it's an iconic image. It's a pop culture image at this stage. I love two things about this. I love that he really did it, but also that he wasn't really that far off the ground, because this part of the building did have a mat, and he's still, it was 8 or 9 feet or 12 feet off the ground, so there's another level to the roof below him. But he didn't always have that safety margin. He had done the climb in that same movie up the side of a building, which he really did, without proper safety ropes or anything. But you can see here The idea that this is, okay, silent movie, they only have so many ways to communicate. This became iconic, not just because there's a guy hanging in danger. It was all of the choreography, all of the thinking, all of the setup as to how they could do it in some way safely so that he could concentrate on acting and emoting the whole scenario. Like it's perfect cinema. This is one of those things I think of. There's cinema. It's covered our eyes over to what we don't need to see, which is he's not in huge danger, but it's given us a performance, a sequence, a well planned event that you feel like, oh my god, this is really just happening right now. It's the magic of cinema incarnate for me.
Yeah, and also I think we talk about that scene before because it's forced perspective with the background being overlaid into us and stuff.
There's
It's like
all
the
manner of
first,
special effects going on for the time.
yeah, it's like one of the first examples of special effects because like the background isn't actually there, isn't it? Something like yeah,
It's
we
a
do a video
projector,
on
I
it and
think.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it's like yeah, it's superimposed onto the film or cut into the film or yeah, projected or something like that. So it's really cool. So yeah, but that scene is really good because I think they had problems originally with the clock
Mm.
coming out, the clock face coming out. As they had to try figure out how to slow it down and stuff like that because it came out too much and janked them a couple of times. And like yeah, you were like it is still an 8 to 9 feet drop kind of thing. Also very not like padding like
Mm.
mats back there. We're just like yeah, this is okay. This doesn't really have any rocks or anything.
Well, and to kind of before we move on to the others, just to call it out, we're talking about everybody involved in creating a stunt and executing it. So that includes all of the rigging, all of the design, all of the genius and hard work. Which just again quickly moving on, there's another category that after silent movies really made stunt people stars. That was westerns. Um, I'm showing the famous stagecoach horse drag drop under the stagecoach thing right now, Paul, and it is again beyond iconic. Obviously, then you've got things like bar fights, which bar fights look simple, but that's an awful lot of people, and that's an awful lot of stunt people, and an awful lot of breakaway furniture, and an awful lot of sugared glass. So there's a lot of coordination that has to go on there, and a lot of. It only takes one bad stunt performer to make something look hokey. So if there's one person just standing there punching wind, just because they're not good at getting involved, it's going to look bad. So pulling off even the simple stuff is difficult.
Yeah, and also something that like, so yeah, the cage coach drag kind of thing is one of the most famous drag Western drags and stuff like that. But just to talk about sugar glass, sugar glass is not made like mass produced factory style kind of thing. Like it is and it isn't, but there's imperfections and stuff like that. There's several cases of actors getting like actually properly cut because
Hmm.
like sugar glass is just more brittle glass so like it's still glass
It's
and it's
yeah,
like
it's
and
still
yeah
sharp.
and you don't get the mixture right and stuff like that. You can actually like really injure someone. Like there's yeah, like I don't have an example right now, but I do remember that yeah, there's several cases of yeah sugar glass like either being too tough, as in like they've actually like knocked out the actor, or like yeah it's smashed, but it's designed to try smash bluntly, or if you are trying to like if you stab someone with a sharp part it snaps
Mm.
kind of thing, but it's just once again the strength mixture was off and it actually cut someone.
Yeah,
So
which like
you
yeah,
know
there's you can only remove so much danger from these things, and these people are. It's like professional wrestling. It's all entertainment, but there's still somebody flying through the air and landing on another guy.
yeah,
It's still athletic acrobatics. People don't die and get hurt because it's all fake. It's yeah, it's impressive. Now I'm gonna just the other big category that people always talk about. Oh well, it's not always a stunt person. Sometimes stars do their own stunts. A little trio of Tom Cruise happening here, but the bottom one is yeah, Tom Cruise does a lot of his own stunts, and he also famously nearly didn't pull one of them off and broke an ankle, I think it was, or was it a foot, with the roof jump that he didn't quite make. Um, and it's why you want a stunt person doing it when you can. Don't get me wrong, it's great if you can see the actor's face. That's all cool, but there are logistical and realistic reasons why even if Ryan Reynolds can do that, you don't want Ryan Reynolds doing that, or in this case Tom Cruise, because if it goes wrong, you can't just move on and film the next thing where you need to have that actor available. You can't just say, right, we'll come and pick this one up later. So people doing their own stunts is great, all for it, but sometimes it really has to be worth it, because it could just jeopardize a load of people's jobs and an entire production.
Yeah, that's the thing, is because I think like Jackie Chan did a lot of his own stunts as well, and there's a part where he jumps onto the ferry and he breaks his leg. He broke his foot.
He's broken all sorts of things, bless him.
But yeah, this is, I can't remember which film it is, but yeah, this is the interesting fact is that they had to, for the rest of the film he had a cast on, which had a fake thing looking like his runner, looking like his sneaker, which is a great kind of thing.
And they did a really good job, because I've watched all of Jackie Chan's movies pretty much, and I know that one, and you really can't tell that it's because I think that was Who Am I. You really can't tell that it's a fake unless you're looking closely. It's like, wow, they did a good job.
Yeah, like and Tom Cruise and Jackie Chan are probably two of the famous ones. There's loads of others. Cameron Diaz, Charlize Theron did all their stunts for Old Guard. Like there's several, like Christian Bale has done stunts for himself as well. Like there's Keanu Reeves as well has done a lot of his own stunts.
He likes doing his own stuff. Like, that's right.
It's Tom Cruise and Jackie Chan are essentially the two biggest names, because Tom Cruise is still currently doing a lot of his own stunts, and they get bigger and bolder as they go on. And I think Jackie Chan is a lot more famous for doing his own stunts, because there's so many so many in his films that you're just like, the filming must have been like 2 years, because that must have been like 2 months of shooting, then 3 months of him recovering, and then So.
In Jackie's defense, the style of movie he started off making meant that he had to be the one doing most of it. Tom, on the other hand, there'll be ways around it. As he gets older, if he decides to stop, then he'll still be able to do movies and have other people do his stunts. It's sometimes I just wonder, I if I was on a set with Tom Cruise, would I be like, maybe sit this one out, just maybe,
Yeah, I wonder how many times it has been like, Tom, you don't have to do this one. Seriously, like,
can someone lock him in the trailer, please?
Like, yeah.
So again, quick montage, Paul. We have stunts. It's not just fighting. It's not just falling. It's not just kicking. It's fighting with swords. It's car stuff, which we're going to cover. It's vehicle stuff. It's flying. It's you name it. There are people who do stunts literally on surfboards. That's actually being able to perform. If you can perform exceptionally, and make it look good on camera, and importantly, when someone says, all right, take two, you can go and do it again and hit your mark and get up and walk it off, then you're a stunt professional. Because everybody, I think, looks at it and goes, oh, well, I could do that. Sure, all they did was just fall over the back of a couch. It's like, yep. Can you do that 14 times and get up in the exact same spot every time and deliver the same look or shrug? Because that's the difference between amateur and professional. They're professionals and we are not.
Yeah, like that's the thing. Yeah, that's the thing, is it's being able to take the punch like as long as it takes to get the perfect angle and perfect way of falling, so it could, which is just insane sometimes when you think about it, and also when you hear sometimes about how many takes it took, and you're just like, how is that guy still conscious? How is that person still conscious with the amount of times that they've been hit?
Yeah. Oh, Paul has hung. Hopefully, Paul, you will come back if you can hear us. What I'm going to say in Paul's absence is one of the next things that he was either going to say or I was going to say is big shout out. We keep saying stunt people, female stunt professionals. Oh, you're back, Paul. Hey, you froze. If you're wondering why I was talking over you or anything, you froze on our side. Stunt professionals, stunt men and stunt women. Stunt women have it harder. And people go, well, that's why. Simply because of the age-old, we put women in less clothing in movies. So the chances of you being able to hide pads and hide safety gear comfortably, or at all in some cases, is just, on average, it's a much lower percentage of time. So we're getting a few hangs from you there, Paul, so just so you know, in case I ignore you. It's Shout out to all the people who are, male and female stunt people standing beside each other. One of them's wearing a tuxedo and they're padded up to the gills and they have basically an entire motocross rider's suit underneath their tuxedo. And then the lady next to them is wearing a miniature black dress with very little chance of putting any safety pads. And then they both have to do the same fall or the same whack off a wall or a pole or get hit by the same thing. So big shout out and massive respect. Paul, come in. Can you hear us?
I think I'm back.
You are. You're slightly shaky, but you're there. We'll struggle on. Paul, what I'm going to do is jump over to the vehicles. We're going to give you a few of our favourites from a few big categories. So I'm going to do my vehicle stuff first, Paul, just because I think you may be hanging again, and hopefully you'll come back round. My kind of, how should I put it? My honourable mentions. I can't honestly do this video without pulling up Smokey and the Bandit. For a bunch of reasons. It's an honourable mention not just because of all the car stunts, which are amazing. The car jump that you'll see on the bottom half of the screen is literally amazing. It was big for its time, but it was directed by a stuntman. Hal Needham, a good friend of Burt Reynolds, ended up making things like Smokey and the Bandit and Cannonball Run. Things with a lot of stunts in them because he was an ex-stuntman and also an ex-tree surgeon. Little bit of trivia for you there. He cut trees and stuff in his spare time. Why? Because he didn't mind the heights. So he would go up higher than anybody else. And hence his stuntmanness. So Smokey and the Bandit, absolutely amazing. If you want to watch 3 films with some amazing car stunts and car control and well choreographed scenes of all sorts, absolute honourable mention. But from a vehicle point of view, Paul, I'm going to then just quickly throw up a few together.
Yeah.
Baby Driver is amazing for, again, car choreography, but it is one particular what we would call a reverse entry drift, but it's actually not. It's a transition in the whole car nerd world. It's a really cool alley moment where somebody throws a Subaru sideways backwards and then catches it again. It's just nice. But the bottom half of the screen shows the Italian Job, and I couldn't find a good representation that I could legally use other than this image. That is a helicopter under a bridge. There's a scene in the modern Italian Job where someone flies a helicopter in under a bridge to face off against a car, and all it does is really hover there. What's impressive about that? If you don't know a whole lot about helicopters, it's generally frowned upon to fly them under things because it's not a very safe scenario. And the pilot who did that is truly incredible, quite famous. I think passed away last year. I'm not too sure. But it was one of those things when I was watching that film, which was a mediocre film at best. I was like, wow, I wonder did they really do that? And I went and looked it up. Oh my God, he really did do that. That looked real because it was real. And as far as vehicle stunts go, that hits it for me. Now, my last little honourable mention before throwing in my big one is I mentioned having 2 jobs when you're a kid there, that you would be 2 things. Well, the Fall Guy was a stuntman who was also a bounty hunter or, a collection agent. And one of my favourite sequences of all time, and this entire show is about stunts, there is a jump I'm showing where a truck jumps over a beautiful Porsche 930, I believe. It is how it was choreographed, how it was shot, the way the truck bounces, the car slides, it's all perfection. If I had to pick one perfect stunt sequence with multiple things as far as vehicles going, I'd pick this. But my top, Paul, this is, now that we've got a good connection with you, this is where I get your feedback and I can stop blabbing on. It's the Bond corkscrew. It's the corkscrew jump, because they really did it. That's just one of those, they really did it. Wow. We know it can be done. We know the math supports it. But somebody still had to go and actually do it.
Yeah, and like that the whole thing about that was to build a specific ramp kind of thing that, like, that they tested out several times and stuff like that to get the perfect amount of rotation. And then they had to talk about how they had to also talk about the what was it, the speed that you had to go at and stuff like that. Like talking about the whole mats thing and stuff like that. Like it wasn't dragged or anything like that. It was just the perfect angle. It was the perfect speeds and everything. And then some person who was willing to jump over a river in a car, kind of thing. Because like if you don't like, obviously, guys, we're talking about stunts that can be dangerous and stuff. Water in cars is probably one of the most like
It's frowned upon.
like one of the most yeah, and like a lot of the scenes that you see with cars in water and people like struggling to get out and stuff like that are done in controlled pools and stuff like that. They're not done in like they're not generally done in kind of the river or anything like that. You'll see a car go into a river, and then if you see the shot inside, it's usually in a controlled pool. So I think there is one aspect of that which is a problem with another film that we'll talk about another time. It was Collateral. Just
Yeah, no, I
think
I know the tragedy you're talking about.
But yeah, so like the Bond flip one is like one of the most famous kind of mathematically done ones as well. So it's a really cool one.
And it really did serve the story in an otherwise, like, don't get me wrong, it's not the greatest Bond film. I have a huge soft spot for Man with the Golden Gun. It was the Man with the Golden Gun, because it's a lot of vehicular fun in it, so that suits me. But you know the way they always say, well, they sent people to the moon with the computing power that a digital watch has now, digital watch now has 1,000 times or 10,000 times the computing power. When these guys were working out how to make this jump work, they were using pens and pencils and calculators. It wasn't a case of, right, do we have some nice, programs where we can just plug this in, model it a bunch of times, work it out. No, they had to really do the math on paper. So fair play. Paul, I'm going to throw it over to you, and after yours, we'll say hi to the comments. What do you say? So I'm going to close mine down, and what have you got?
So my honorable mention is not specifically to do with a particular car kind of thing, but it is to do with vehicles. It's when Keanu Reeves jumps from the which is, I can't remember the type of car.
Jaguar.
Okay.
Jaguar actually.
He jumps from the Jaguar into the bus in speed. He actually did it. It is him jumping from a moving car onto a bus. They are going around 50 kilometers or 50 miles an hour, which is to keep up with the story and stuff. And like he gets dragged a little bit, like his legs being dragged by the bus are actually him being dragged and stuff like that. Now there were safety things like people inside the bus to kind of grab him once he jumped and stuff like that. But the whole thing is that like he had to jump into a like phone booth, like a doorway, a small, like a possibly smaller doorway at like 50 miles an hour. So like that's a really kind of, it's a real cool kind of like vehicle kind of moment.
Very cool
from me. And then my winner, my winner is Dark Knight Rises, the truck flip. It is one of the most fantastic pieces of like vehicle stunts pieces, like and the reason, like, I understand that people were just like, but they just flipped the truck, it's not really a stunt. Like the whole thing about stunts isn't that it just involves people and stuff like that. Like there's people on the street, like the truck could have flipped into a building and stuff like that. Like they had to perfectly time it, kind of thing, and they actually did it. It's downtown Chicago, it's they actually flipped us using pneumatic rams underneath the truck and stuff like that. Would you have an interesting piece to that?
Yeah, well, my take on it is one of the reasons Christopher Nolan is a genius is because he's smart enough not to hide something. The GIF that I used, Paul, shows the truck flip itself, and when you look at it now playing over and over again, everybody sees, okay, I can see where the compressed gas is coming out of the bottom of that trailer. It's obvious, so to speak, how they did it. First time I saw it, I was like, I think I know how they did that. Second time I saw it, I loved it more. I was like, he left it in. He didn't try and digitize out the smoke. He didn't try and make this look. He didn't hide the artistry. And I was like, Christopher Nolan, you're a genius. If you do not hide the artistry there, it's better for me that you can see how it was done than if it had just been completely sanitized and completely clinical, because you get a real sense of, not only do I know how they did it, I now know they did it. And that hits home that bit harder, which is your point and why you picked this, and why we could not have done this list without this being mentioned. It is a genuine wow that, the stunt coordinators and the people who came up with this piece did an amazing job.
Now I have an interesting fact about this,
Hmm.
which also ties into your I think your winner as well. Chris Corbold is the coordinator. He's not the stunt coordinator, but he's the special effects coordinator, and he helped plan this out. He's one of the heads of planning this out. He planned out. He was one of the people who also planned out the corkscrew in
Ah,
James Bond.
I
He
didn't
has
know.
worked. He's worked on like a large amount of the James Bond films, coordinating special effects and stunts and stuff like that. So yeah, that's an interesting little factoid,
That's
and little
very
kind of
cool.
like they're together kind of thing, you know. And yeah, Christopher Nolan. Another little factoid. When they were approached, they were told, "Yeah, we can do that with CGI." And he went, "No, I actually want to flip a truck. I want to flip a truck in downtown Chicago." And they were just like, and he was just like, it looked better." Like, and it's the thing that the thing that I do have to say is that it will never age badly. You know,
No, it
this
really won't. Yeah,
this one, like, you'll never be sitting there going like, "Oh, the CGI in that is terrible," because it's
exactly.
actually a truck flipping. So
If they'd sanitized it, if they'd done any more to hide, okay, they've done a little bit to hide the RAM and a few other things, but if they'd done any more, it wouldn't, like I say, it wouldn't be timeless, and now it is exactly that. It's timeless. Paul, will we take a little dander over to what we like to call the comments?
yes, of
And when
course.
I say we like to call it, that's what people call it, the chat. So I've had a little sneak peek, and I'm going to say thank you all for your congratulations on our big view count, which Paul announced. Thank you very much. And also, I see somebody said, "Oh yeah, hey MG Ethan, it's good to see you. Can't believe you guys don't have 50 million views." That I also can believe that we don't have 50 million views. I've watched our videos. You're all very kind. We're 25 million views worth at least. At best 50. It's too much. Um, I see there's somebody who was asking, was it Charlie Chaplin? No, Buster Keaton and Harold Lloyd were in the first few that we showed. There's a film called Hollywood Bulldogs about British stunt performers. That I will be looking up. And Irish in with a winner again. Dick Van Dyke was great at physical comedy. There's one of those things. Physical comedy crossing over to stunt work. People who could do slapstick. Don't try this at home. I was about to say, you know what you should do? Try it at home. Put your hands by your side and fall straight forward. You're going to break your nose and hurt yourself badly, so do not do it. But people who can pass that off, they are amazing performers, be they stunt people or build stars. Uh,
Yeah,
Tom Jerry, you're a
definitely
great
so.
stuntman.
Yeah.
So any comments
Uh,
there, Paul? We're a bit the way down.
Irish Irish Bauer said, that, I can't believe you didn't start with Bullet. So there you go.
Yeah, well, funny you should mention that. I knew it was going to come up. So that's a Dodge Charger. I know everybody thinks of Mustang when they think of Bullet, but the reason I didn't pick and didn't want to show Bullet is because a stuntman actually died in the Charger in that final scene where the Charger hits the petrol station at the end of the chase. Um, and it's always bittersweet anytime I watch that because everybody thinks of it as the greatest car chase of all time. I think it's one of the greats. But yeah, it's also tinged with sadness. But your good point, Bullet did need to get a mention, and I did specifically run and put this on. Um, I love Speed. Yeah, I had that movie memorized at 1.2. I used to sell TVs and videos and stuff, and had one of the first DVD players in Ireland for sale, and we had Speed playing on a loop. So I've seen Speed literally hundreds and hundreds of times because it was on repeat where I was working for a while. Still love the movie, but I did have to take about a 10-year break from it.
I'd say so. Brew also says, don't forget about stunt animals, and Irish Bauer says about the horses in Braveheart.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's also an interesting, I can't remember what it is, but there's a short video, I think it's like in Last Samurai or something like that. So there's a funny thing about Last Samurai as well, but not really funny, but interesting. But yeah, like some of the horses that are laying on the grounds and stuff like that in war moments and stuff like that, like in Civil War or kind of like ancient battles of medieval and stuff like that, are actually alive horses. They're actually acting.
Yeah.
They're actually just lying on the grounds, being still. That's what they've been taught how to do, and stuff like that. So and also the stunt performers of how animals, like how horses specifically, can fall without hurting themselves is like incredibly technical.
Yeah.
I'm not a very big horse lover person, but like I'm also one of those case of like I wouldn't want a horse to injure itself because
Oh God,
like
no.
they don't really recover from those kind of injuries.
Well,
So
I love animals, not physically or literally, but I love animals in every other way. And I gotta say, I'm glad somebody called it out. Stunt animals and performing animals in general deserve an awful lot of credit, or performance on TV. Performing animals, the other side of it all, people whipping bears to get them to ride around on unicycles. That bullshit should end right now. And if you ever see anybody doing it, tell them they are the animal and hand the whip to the bear. That's what I say. So, Paul, on to fights. That was our kind of. We're not doing every category of stunt there is. We're throwing some big, broad ones out. So there'll be a few things in here. How about you go first this time on the fights?
sure thing. So some of the fight ones I'm going to talk about, like there's tons and tons of ones that we can bring up and stuff. Some of the ones that I'm going to like especially mention is like the Matrix, the dojo fight, and
Yeah.
also the subway fight. Those two fights are greatly, like, amazingly choreographed, which just have a lot of kind of like wire work, but still kind of like still dangerous as well in the sense that Keanu Reeves is dragged into a wall in the subway scene and stuff like that, and thrown through thrown into a wall and thrown into phone booths and stuff in that. And then in the dojo fight and stuff, like the kind of speed and everything that they decided to kind of fight at and stuff. Once again had wire work as well, but like the thing is that like when
Skills.
you pull, yeah, like when you activate the wire work, you're not kicking like Lawrence Fishburne in the face by accidents and stuff like that. And Lawrence Fishburne and Keanu Reeves did like a large amount of that fight scenes together, kind of thing. Now Hugo Weaving and Keanu Reeves in the subway fight weren't like I do think it's Keanu Reeves, and there is a lot of Hugo Weaving, but I do believe that some of the Hugo Weaving fight scenes are certain coordinators.
Yeah.
Um,
And in later films, complete CGI banana people when there's 1,000 of them.
yeah, like yeah, this is the first kind of Matrix one. Yeah, they do digitize the fights then kind of a little bit more going forward, which is great.
Mm.
The only reason I don't mention the fight at the end is because it's not one of the most impactful fights, really, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Another one of the fights that I really want to talk about is John Wick club scene. And the reason I wanted to talk about this one is because Keanu Reeves, and let me tell you, I know that this is a lot of Keanu Reeves stuff, and it's because Keanu Reeves does a lot of his own stunts and a lot of training and stuff like that for these kind of scenes and fight scenes and stuff. There's a video of Keanu Reeves being John Wick or training for John Wick shooting. It is incredible. Like, it is incredible how accurate and scary. Like, I gotta tell you how scary it is to see him like go through the training field as quickly and as proficiently as he does. Like, it doesn't feel like he's like when they were like it feels like when they were training for this and kind of trying to get the kind of feel of John Wick. Keanu Reeves just went through the field and then just went, "Oh, we don't need to do anything. They should just do that. Just
Right.
be like he's so efficient and so weird about it. It's really really good." Kind of thing. But like, there's several other fights, like weapons fighting scenes that go. There's a lot of Star Wars kind of elements to it, but there's also a lot of medieval, like which goes Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, and several medieval films, which are also very important to show weapon fighting and stuff. But the reason I'm bringing this up is because my winner.
Just before your winner, I want to call something out while Wick is still playing on screen. Remember,
Yeah.
even when somebody does their own stunts, everybody else that's interacting with them are stunt professionals. The ones that are getting shot and getting hit. And it can be a lot harder to take the hit and take the fall than it can be to point the gun and or do the pushing or the punching. So yeah, even when a stunt person does or a person does their own stunts, there's still stunt people involved in making it look good.
Yeah, like that's the thing. Like, a lot of them take the hits and everything. Like, a lot of those weapons are close up, and the tragic thing is that like there's a lot of those are stunt weapons, and like stunt guns, are essentially just live guns that use blanks. and there has been tragedies in the past, which you can also you can see one of them up in the corner of Patrick's
Brandon
screen.
Lee, the Crow.
Yeah, one of the most famous ones, kind of thing. So like, although it doesn't seem like it, and they do everything they possibly can and stuff like that, blank weapons still kill people like by accident. So like that's a big thing.
Now, on to your winner. And sorry, I just realised that my camera setup wasn't quite right tonight, so I'm a million miles away from everybody. But it's good. You can now see more stuff. So yeah, there's good old Brandon.
There's a bit of a fisheye kind of.
Yeah, I'll sort it out for next week. So Paul, your winner.
Yeah, so my winner, because it's specifically on weapons, is the Winter Soldier versus Captain America scene in the Winter Soldier. It's the knife fight kind of thing. It's the first time that they fully go toe to toe against each other. And the reason that this is my winner is because, which is Steve Evans and Sebastian both did the fight scenes. This is fully them, and the knife work is all Sebastian. Sebastian did the entire knife work. He really loved it, actually. And also the stunt coordinators and fight coordinators were scared about how quickly he picked up the knife techniques and knife skills. So much so that, because they were going to like, because that's not even, that's flip one isn't even the best one. There's a drop as well that like yeah, he like, it's being held by his hands and he drops it to his other hands and he does it seamlessly and quickly. There's like several videos out there of Sebastian practicing this stuff, and it's just like, it's him getting it perfectly, and then it's like Chris Evans screwing up some like defensive pose or something like that, and then they're just like, okay, we have to reset and stuff, and he does it again and again and again, and it's incredible, because they were like, we would have to we would have to kind of do this. We would have to, which is just CGI. We can just CGI us or do something like that. And Sebastian was like, "No, we're doing it. I can do it," and did it perfectly. Like, trained and stuff like that.
It is truly incredible. Now, just to explain to everybody why we're not playing entire videoed sections of this stuff, is a little thing on YouTube. Well, there's a lot on YouTube that will end up getting taken down or claimed, or we'll get copyright strikes or whatever. We're not trying to step on anybody's toes. We're just trying to use stuff for fair use and commentary, to try and make our little show here. So we would love to show you entire sequences, but what I can suggest is take a little list of what we mentioned tonight. If you haven't seen it before, can very much recommend Captain America: The Winter Soldier, all of its action scenes. Again, stunt coordinators deserve some serious credit.
Yeah, now that was done, actually, I have the name of the person that was done, because he did quite a lot of them. His name is James Young.
Oh, okay, that was yeah, and he's done, not The Raid. What did he do?
Well, he's done most of the, so for the Marvel universe, he's actually done most of. He's done Age of Ultron, Infinity War, Endgame, Black Widow, Guardians of the Galaxy, like Civil War. Like, he's done the coordinations and fight scene. Like, he's the fight coordinator of most of those scenes. And the thing is that it's not like the big battle scenes. He's the one who like does the close up, like Black Widow versus Black Panther, or which goes, that kind of like fight scenes where it's like nitty gritty. And the really interesting ones again about the knife scene is Sebastian wanted the Winter Soldier to have his own style, so that is a combination of a lot of stuff, and it's like, it's a lot of quick, easy. He decided to do a lot of quick, easy transfers and stuff like that, just because it's like ruthless, trying to kill, berserk mode, like just trying to get it into the hand to stab someone, kind of thing.
And it's not action for action's sake. It really is. It is for story, and it's integral to the story. The story couldn't work without the action and the execution that they pulled off. So fair play. I think it's a great top pick. It would have, myself and Paul had to share some insight before this so that we didn't just pick the same stuff. So I almost did. But I would have picked that if you hadn't, so I'm really glad you did. Now, my honourable mentions. Jackie Chan has to get a mention in anything to do with fighting, and I'm mentioning him specifically for his use of props. Prop fighting, or fighting with the use of props, or obstacles, and using them the way he does in particular, I think is just one of the most interesting executions of any fight choreography. because not only are you doing the fights and other people having to do the moves, do the falls, get ready for the punches, you've then got this third element, and the clip I'm showing Paul is Jackie with the stepladder, and it's quite impressive how he can make anything in a room just seem, oh wow, he's dangerous with that. I do love in a fight scene a good use of a prop, because it adds an extra dimension. So what you've got then is the traditional Jackie Chan. He can use the prop to add to his performance and add to the joke. So when he's halfway through the fight, he spins it round in a very cool way and then sits down and he's like, yeah, come on, what are we doing here? He can use it for the fight, he can use it for the show. Couldn't go along without a mention.
No, not at all.
Yeah, and again, Jackie Chan, master of prop fights. Every movie he'll use something new. Famously, using things like hoses, hose reels, where you're wrapping it and kicking it at people, and then Jason Statham did something similar, and a lot of people say copy, but I think it's just homage. I'm going to mention one other or two other movies, but not actually show any clips, and that's The Raid and Ong Bak, simply because there is a whole... When it comes to fighting, there's a whole different genre of movies where people have perfected the idea of using fights as part of their exhaustive storytelling. And in the case of even Ong Bak, what doubles as parkour, I guess, where it's just amazing movement and feats and ways to link fighting situations together. So, quick honourable mention, I know we're up against time. What I would like to do then is go to my winner. And I have a tied winner. I figured I'd pick one from each of the genres or the universes. That's TV, or in this case streaming, so a bit of a cheat, and movies. Hallway fights. The hallway fight from Daredevil, the Netflix series, or Oldboy, the original, which I still love, one of my favourite movies. But that scene, the thing they share is not only the mass, the number of people, the mass choreography required, the ability to hide your actor and have people swap in and swap out. There's weaponry, there's everything. But my favourite thing about both these scenes is exhaustion. I very much think fighting should never be there for fighting's sake. If it's going to be part of the story, it has to be part of this is what somebody has to get through, this is what they're facing. Maybe in the case of vengeance or revenge, it's a different story. But if you're wrecked, and if it's exhausting, as if it's as rough to watch physically from a brutality point of view, and also from a my god, look how tired they are and how tired our protagonist is, it really hits home with me, and that is why these are my picks, my joint pick for fights. Anytime somebody talks about stunt fights, etc., these two things always come into my mind. Brilliantly choreographed, but as far as storytelling goes, absolute genius as well.
Yeah, no, it's a great one shot or long shot scenes and stuff like that. As you said, it brings in the because the thing about that is it's one shot. Yeah, so it brings in the exhaustion and everything like that. But if they get it wrong, they have to reset the whole thing and stuff like that again and again and stuff like that. So having that fight perfectly choreographed, perfectly executed, and everything for the long shots, it's really difficult. And then to act as well during that is also very difficult as well. So yeah, these are great choices and great joint winners as well, because they really do have so much in common.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. So it's a fantastic win.
And one of my favorite movies, and also one of my favorite streaming TV shows of all time. So it's nice to get them in there. I'm going to shout out to the comments, folks. I'm loving the comments that we're seeing coming in. I would also like to say to you, get involved. And if you're watching in future times, comment down below. Let us know what your favorite vehicle stunt was, what your favorite kind of choreographed fight scene, or even entire fight movie might be. Because we can't cover everything here, and my God, we're running really long already, so we're going to bump along. Paul, we've kind of just called this, being awesome, human achievement.
Yeah.
You can go first.
Sure, we should. So this is human excellence, human endurance, kind of human coolness kind of thing. So my honorable mentions are the Bourne Ultimatum window jump, which is a cool scene just of our hero Jason Bourne jumping through a window from a rooftop and perfectly landing through it and not hitting a wall or anything like that, which is a good, because that was actually done by a stunt coordinator or a stunt person, the stunt double for Matt Damon. And it was like perfectly done, no injuries or anything like that. Smashing through a window into a room and stuff. So like it's a great, smashing through a window is cool, but smashing through a window while jumping from a roof and perfectly targeting it is also very difficult.
And having the understanding of filmmaking to be able to also coordinate to have a cameraman jump out on a wire that can follow you and pull back before going through the window. It deserves a mention here. I'm really glad you picked it.
Yeah, it's a really good one. And then John Wick 3, The Roof Fall. The reason I chose this one is someone actually did that. Someone actually did fall. Like, so John Wick 3, there is a moment where the main hero, John Wick, falls off a roof. I won't say anything else about it.
I'm showing it.
So, no. As in, I won't say anything more about it. It's just how John Wick falling off a roof. I'm not going to say the story reason.
Oh, okay. I understand.
Because that's spoilers. But
I think I may have
someone actually
cut it into the thing. Sorry.
But someone actually did that. That's an actual fall that someone did. And the way that they did it was they essentially just they did impact pads and stuff like that. So someone does fall and hit that part. Now the CGI of the there is CGI of hitting the
railing,
fire escape.
Yeah.
But the part of him hitting the roof, the corrugated roof thing, that's also a person as well. It's the same person as well. The person who did that, I cannot remember his name, but which is a big problem. But he broke several fingers. He said, I was perfectly fine until I hit that coordinated steel part. Like, it was literally that he hit the roof, flipped over. They had another part where he hit, which they had green screened it, and then he fell onto the next part, and the next part he broke several fingers in his hand. And
so close to the end, so close to getting away without the injury. Well, it was Chad Stahelski, wasn't it, that did the John Wick movies? He was ex stuntman, kind of he stunt director before he was full director too.
Yeah, he worked with Keanu Reeves quite a lot on a lot of his films. A lot of films that Keanu Reeves worked on and stuff. So like it was a great partnership. So
he's got the goods. All right, so what have you got next?
The winner is, of course, Tom Cruise's plane scene from which goes Rogue Nations. Can't be anyone else. This is an endurance scene because it's one of those things where he actually he was connected to the plane, but he's on the actual outside of the plane kind of thing doing it. It's just like to be able to act and keep like that must have been really horribly disorientating and everything like that, kind of thing. So and also on top of that, if anything had gone wrong,
you're not even just talking, death, because he's strapped on, but strapped on to the point that if he loses his grip, he's going to bounce around there. That's wrists, elbows, fingers, faces, chins, jaws, noses, pretty faces of movie stars being put at risk for bouncing off the side of whatever that was, a C-130 or whatever it was. Again, that would have been one of those days where it'd been like, Tom, we are good at face replacement and green screen and all sorts of stuff. And I'm sure he was like, no, we're at the airport now. Okay.
Yeah, definitely, kind of thing. And an honorable mention with Tom Cruise on that one is also the Halo jump, because he actually did a Halo jump, which is a high altitude, low orbit jump, which is great. But anyway, that's a really, really good scene. I really like to know that it's real.
I'm gonna just check the comments. I can see I'm not sure why it's being asked, is Fast and the Furious real? And remember that most movies aren't real. I'm not sure where that narrative is going, but Fast and the Furious is real for your family. It's real for your family because it's about family. I can't do Vin Diesel.
I watched the new I was going to say Fantastic Furious.
That's a really good way of describing it. The Fantastic Furious.
Anyway, your human excellence and endurance and coolness picks there, Pat.
I'm gonna skip and go straight to the my top pick, which was Hot Rod. Hot Rod. There's a scene again. It's about a stunt person. If you haven't seen Hot Rod, the Andy Samberg comedy, it's truly fabulous. The cast is amazing. Everybody was in their prime. But there is a fall scene again for comedic effect that goes on for, and I timed it, goes on for full sequence is almost a full minute long. It's like 57 seconds or something. It's obviously multiple cuts, but you see every type of stunt person bounce fall. There are people who are taking rocks in the back, pads be damned. I'm sure there are pads there. These people still had to do it. And if any of the interviews I've seen with stunt people are real, there's one thing doing a high fall into an airbag, but doing one of these rolling tumble falls is where you only have so much control. You really do just have to throw yourself into it, pun intended. And it's. I wish we could play the full sequence and just sit quietly and watch it, but we would get demonetized. Not that we're monetized, we get taken down. If you ever get a chance, trust me when I say all of the stunt people involved probably got hurt at each bounce and at each cutaway. There's no way. None of these were easy falls.
No, because I think there's several ones where he hits a full on trunk of a tree and stuff like that, and
Yep.
that one like because you hear the thud,
And that's that's a wire work section, so they even mix wire work in with full bounce to like it's yeah. I believe the word is gnarly. It definitely is. So Paul, considering time, we're going to go over, but I'm going to move us on to our big stunts. What do you say?
Yeah.
Our final category, the big set pieces. Would you like? You should go.
Yeah. Are we doing honorable mentions or?
Yeah, nah, go for it.
So, yeah, honorable mentions. Inception, the hallway fight. That is that's the one that where the hallway actually like spins around. The reason that that's such a cool one is because it's a hallway that's actually on like a rig in which the entire thing twists and turns and everything. So the building's actually moving around and everything. And there's actors inside fighting and stuff, which is great. It's such a cool kind of like concept. It's like one of those weird kind of like house, like the moving circle thing, fun house kind of scene. But it's an amazing piece because like it takes a fall or something like that in which someone which goes where someone kind of could just really injure themselves and stuff like that. And then also on top of that, the way that they kind of the way that you see the jumps and stuff like that is because it doesn't just rotate like slowly. They can rotate it quite a bit and they can work with the angles because like the camera rotates as well.
Yeah.
So it means that like when they're falling from one place to the other and stuff like that, it's because that they've rotated in certain ways in which the gravity kind of like not gravity works for the scene and stuff.
Yeah,
So
they're altering the room and their perspective of gravity at the same time. It's again, Nolan knows how to let stunt people coordinate things well. He's backing the right people.
Yeah, and then another honorable mention, which we couldn't leave out of this kind of big set piece epicness, is of course the Mad Max Fury Road scenes itself. But I'm specifically targeting the polecats, because that is a really cool and dangerous elements to the big huge showpiece that is Road or Mad Max Fury Road. The polecats are the guys on the poles that swing and they kind of jump down to the guys and pick them up and stuff. It's really important that I wanted to target a specific part of a big huge scene, but this is such a massive moment in the thing. It's such a cool weird one. Like, who thought that was an actual way of attacking people come on, who thought that was going to be an actual thing, you know?
It's pretty impressive, to be fair.
It's epic and stuff like that, kind of thing. And it's I just wanted to target that part. Irish Bear, I want to tell you, you won't be upset about this. So my winner is which is Dark Knight, which is the Dark Knight Rises plane hijacking scene. And yeah, it's such an epic showpiece. It shows everything you need to know about the characters and stuff like that. so it's like it's perfectly set. And on the top of that, it's a lot of it is done like they actually hung the end of a plane upside down while being carried, and they did like have them jump around the plane and everything like that, while inside it and everything. Like, just watching the like commentary and some of the behind the scenes
making
elements.
ofs, yeah.
Yeah, like that's just it's such an incredible moment in like not TV, in film history, that they did that kind of, that they were able to coordinate it all properly, that it was all worked fine, kind of thing. It's such a big epic moment, kind of thing. So yeah, Christopher Nolan doesn't do anything small, and tries to keep everything in real life.
He really doesn't. Well, Paul, I think that's a great choice, and the look on my face was I've realized that at some point I accidentally deleted my honorable mentions, so I'm just going to tell you what they are, because I as in deleted the imagery. They'll be familiar for everybody. It's the GoldenEye Bond bungee, where the dude jumps down the front of the dam and then shoots. It's an incredibly high bungee. Back when bungee jumping was not as mature as it is now, that's a long time ago. And it, again, as far as big set pieces go, it was cinematic as all hell. And it really was a genius idea. It's one of those things where someone says, can we do this, or could we do this? And I think everybody must have gone, if we can and we do, we have an iconic opening that's going to last, the test of time, cinema history. You should be watching a little gif of it right now, but it looks like I deleted it. And also deleted Harrison Ford jumping around a truck in Raiders of the Lost Ark, which I really do wish I could have shown the clip that I'd made out of that. It is a throwback to Stagecoach with being dragged under things, but also, the guy driving is also a stuntman. They had to prepare the road when he's being dragged. If you look closely, you'll see the truck is up on... They created a gully in the middle so that the person being dragged would be a bit lower than the truck. So if that truck wasn't perfectly straight and deviated in, it would have had some serious consequences. Real danger, real cool, great scene. But for the sake of time, I'm going to go straight to my winner. And Paul, it's not the winner I shared with you. I changed it. I was going to go for the Crank helicopter fight, which at the end of Crank, you have Jason Statham doing a big fight. But what I got instead, it hit me. I did all the bits, put in all the imagery, and then I had to come back and do this one quickly, which is, I think, when I accidentally deleted the others. It's Cliffhanger. It's the transition from one plane to another in Cliffhanger. Because remember I was saying, there's one that I'm gonna... There's one I can't remember that I know there's something. It hit me when I was finished everything. I was like, oh my god, the Cliffhanger plane transition. The guy got paid, the stunt person got paid $1 million to essentially put his life on the line. Because I don't know if it should have been allowed. He really did do a transition from plane to plane. They had to do a cut because it went wrong just as he was getting in, and he gets like bounced around off the side of it. Flying two planes at that speed and keeping them proportionally, equidistant or in the right way for the right level of tension on the cable, that in itself, without a person, is impressive and crazy. Then to have a person doing it at a speed where they could not only freeze because they're moving so fast at altitude, but they could get pulled apart if the planes went any faster. Also, spoiler alert, planes don't particularly like going super slowly, so that made flying those planes even harder, because they need a certain amount of speed to stay up there and be planes as opposed to buses. Everything about this just screams, I'm really glad they did it. There's a part of me that doesn't think they should have. It's bloody impressive. Oh no, I'm so sorry. Gosh.
So,
you probably didn't hear anything I said then, because that would have been super loud too. Also, it means we probably are going to get a takedown. Damn it. Anyway.
We're commentating on it, it'll be fine.
Yeah. Sorry, folks. Sorry. Again, last minute changes to videos always do this.
It's a very good, the $1 million payments and stuff like that, and the fuck ups and stuff. And yeah, you're right. Like the alignment and orientation of flying planes like that, and in linked formation and stuff like that. You only see that kind of like you see the only kind of level of expertise and stuff like that you see is in the military when they're refueling planes at like, and that's an incredibly dangerous moments and stuff, and they have like years of experience and technology to help them out with it.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. So having, but and I know that the plane that they were connected to, if that wire had in any way pulls any like harder, like, you know, you just it'll be, it's probably where Christopher Nolan possibly would have gotten his Dark Knight Rises scene, you know.
It's a good point, actually.
I wanted to bring it to the comments because Irish Barra said in vehicle stunts we forgot about dogfighting with planes. Now, an honourable mentions of dogfighting and stuff. Christopher Nolan's Dunkirk is great, and also Top Gun and Top Gun Maverick is also going to be really, really good, kind of thing. The reason that we didn't fully pull those in is because although they are stunts, they are not fully. A lot of them are not fully done by stunt people. They're generally done. A lot of them are done by military personnel, which good kind of thing. So like, but there are stunt people who do a lot of plane stunts and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But a lot of those kind of like dogfighting ones are done by military personnel.
Well, to be honest with you, vehicles could have been the whole show, and thankfully I saw sense and didn't try and push Paul to that direction, because there was a small part of me going, maybe we should just do it on vehicles, because then we can do, you know, bikes, we can do the water stuff, we can do the air stuff. It's there's so much, but the one thing I want everybody to take away from this is that we're not talking about this just because explosions are cool, because explosions, yes, they are cool. There's no two ways about it. Anybody who says explosions are cool is lying to themselves and you. But importantly, other than maybe, and I always make this joke, other than craft services who make the nicest food on any set, that, you know, when you're hungry and you can get to eat the sandwich for free, you know, that person's done you a solid. There are so many overlooked talents. I think when it comes to people who you actually physically see on screen, the most overlooked are stunt performers. But then behind the scenes, to make those stunts happen, everybody else. Like I know I mentioned it at the top of the show, but this really is just one of those videos where I think we both talked about this, Paul. We don't have any expertise to share here. It's just, wow, let's give these people a moment, because holy crap, they've done a heck of a service for us to give us great movies over the years.
Yeah, it's just a stunt. It's like a stunt cruise appreciation video, really.
Yeah,
kind of thing. Like, yeah, like when, and like the stunt group are one of the most underappreciated groups in the thing, because like, yeah, any action film or film with any kind of, like, you know, impact or anything like that is generally done by a stunt performer or with the help of stunt coordinators. Like I got it. It's the Joker pencil scene, a stunt. It's not really a stunt kind of thing, but you do need a stunt person to bang their head off the table.
Yeah.
So like there's an element to it kind of thing. So, but yeah, it's such an underappreciated form of the industry. And kind of, so like
but not underappreciated by us. And also, I'd like to say your time, everybody who's watched live and everybody who's watching in Future Town, you're massively appreciated also. Mm-hmm. We do this because we enjoy doing it, but we mostly do it because we hope someone else out there is enjoying what we do. So if you are, thank you. I'm not even going to go into the whole analytics stuff. Just big thank you. Stay safe if you're going to try any stunts at home. Good advice is don't. That's why the word professional is at the end of stunt professionals. Don't try this at home. Always applies when you're talking about stunts, because you're not going to make cinema history. You're just going to make a really bad internet story for like a Darwin Award.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
All right. Well, Paul, would you like to walk us out of here? And I'll tell you what. I'll give you the quick shout out. It's an hour and 10 in. Nobody's seeing this part anyway. We should have shouted you out early. Paul's got a thing going on with his friends at Homebrew Quest on YouTube. It's D&D and beers. You should definitely check it out. What Paul's doing there with those guys is great, guys and girls, but guys I say for everybody, so everybody inclusive. I would say if you're not into D&D, check them out. funny bunch of people, you may find you're into D&D. You're slowly but surely wearing me down, Paul. I'm starting to see the light. But it's tough for me to find cars between being a car nerd and a movie nerd and a few other things. You know, I got to cut down on my nerddoms. But yeah, join Homebrew Quest if you can, folks. Paul, what would you like to say goodnight to the folks?
Yeah, thanks very much for watching. Commentate some of your favorite stunts that maybe we haven't mentioned, kind of thing. Like, subscribe, ring that notification bell if you want to see more. We'll see you again next Thursday at 8 p.m. Same Heroes Out channel, same Heroes Out time. I don't know why I went Batman on that, but I went Batman.
Always go Batman.
So, I've been Paul.
And I've been Batman. I've been Patrick. And we've been Heroes Out. Sorry, I ruined that with my Batman. All right, everybody. Bye.
See you later, guys.